I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars in commissions from Zillow Leads, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you everything I know to get the absolute most out of the program. This is the very information that I would have loved to know in the very beginning of my journey, and had I known this information when I was getting started with Zillow Leads, I would have made a lot more money throughout the process. I'm going to be covering everything you need to know in order to make tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars off of Zillow Leads, and all the tricks and hacks that I've learned along the way. I put a lot of time and effort into making this video, and all I ask for in return is that you show your support by subscribing to this channel so that you can help me continue making videos, which I love to do. I wanted to make this video very comprehensive for any agents who are considering to buy Zillow Leads, or for those who are wondering if and how they can make Zillow work for them in their business. So get comfortable, and it would be best to take notes as I go about this video because there is going to be a lot that we're going to cover today. I'm going to be covering everything I know and all my tricks from A to Z, including mindset, how to get started, picking the right area, lowering the cost per lead, and all my secrets that help me convert and close these leads at a high rate. I'm also going to help you out by leaving timestamps over here so that you can feel free to jump around if you're short on time or if you need to come back to this video to watch another part again. The four major components that I'm going to be going over in this video that are going to help you be successful with Zillow Leads are getting started and what to buy, converting leads, missed opportunities, and leverage. So just for some perspective, I've been buying Zillow Leads for over 3 years, and I've been connected to over 1,000 leads throughout my time on the platform. And throughout my experience, I have closed many deals, over 50 deals from Zillow, and that has generated a lot of gross commission for me. So I'm going to be sharing with you all of my experience and everything I've learned along the way, which really I feel like I should be charging for this, but I'm going to be giving it to you all for free. Even if you're in my market or wherever you may be, you could use these same tactics to begin to convert these Zillow leads at a high rate and start increasing your sales and your income. So the first thing I wanted to touch on is why you may consider buying Zillow Leads. Now, there are a few reasons why someone may consider buying Zillow Leads. Zillow is the largest real estate consumer website with hundreds of millions of visits per month, meaning that there is a lot of consumer and buyer traffic going into this platform. Also, when you buy leads from Zillow, these are consumers who are actively looking online for homes that are for sale, so they have some level of curiosity and interest in real estate that is greater than just some random person in your market or some person that you cold call. So this makes Zillow Leads automatically higher quality prospects, and Zillow is basically removing the lead generation portion of the business, and they're basically handing you leads on a silver platter where all you need to do is follow up on them, convert them, and close them. The first reason that you may consider Zillow is that you're brand new to real estate and you need a little something to jumpstart your business. Next, it could just be that you want a way to edge into a particular market that you're trying to capture some market share, and Zillow is one of the easiest ways to basically guarantee that you will have leads to work with in that particular area. Third is that you already have an established real estate business and you're just looking for an additional stream of clients that you can get an additional return on your investment. So these are some of the reasons why Zillow may be a viable solution for you and your business. But now let's go into the mindset that you need to have when buying Zillow Leads. First, you need to understand that, spoiler alert, it's going to cost a lot of money to get started. These leads are very expensive, and the cost could be anywhere from $50 all the way up to $1,000 or more per lead, depending on where your market is and the average price point for the area. Next, you need to understand that converting these Zillow leads and seeing a return on your investment will take a lot of time. In my opinion, you should give Zillow at least 6 months to assess the situation and the results and see if it is worth it. This way, you're at least giving Zillow a fair shot, and in real estate, no matter what you choose to generate business, it will take a long period of time to begin to see results, and Zillow is no different. You need to understand what Zillow is and what Zillow isn't. Zillow is not a get-rich-quick or get-rich-overnight scheme. It is simply just a program that connects you with potential consumers in your market, and that's it. Third, you need to understand that Zillow is a numbers game. Zillow leads at the end of the day are just buyer leads and internet leads that are both notoriously known for not panning out the majority of the time. Buyer leads have their own motivations and goals, and internet leads are notoriously fleeting. You will definitely get a lot of low quality leads, buyers that change their minds, buyers that ghost you, buyers that are not loyal, and all of that good stuff. So just be prepared for receiving that, because it will happen. You need to remember that you are just a stranger to these leads and they don't owe you anything just because you paid a pretty penny for them. At the end of the day, you should just be looking at Zillow as how much did I spend with them and how much did I make from that. Everything in between, the buyers that ghosted, the deals that didn't work out, is just inevitable, and it is honestly unavoidable. That's why I say to give Zillow at least 6 months, because this way you give it enough time and you get enough leads so that you're able to weed through all of the junk and get to the few good leads that are going to make it all worth it. At the end of the day, even if you're only able to convert 5% of the leads, or 1 out of every 20 that come in through Zillow, you'll still probably be in a pretty good shape. So now let's go over getting started and buying leads. So in order to get started, you'll need to create a Zillow account as a real estate agent, and that's really as simple as going to Zillow.com and clicking create an account. So from Zillow Premier Agent, you're gonna go to your inbox, and then from this dashboard, you're gonna go to advertising and click on my ads. Now this is where you are going to pick the area codes that you want to market in. And you don't want to neglect this step, because picking the right area is going to be instrumental in determining whether you see a good return on your investment or not. So you really want to strategize on this part and make sure that you get it right from the very beginning, because a mistake here could be very costly to you, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. So from the search bar, you could add any zip that you may be interested in to see what the marketing is like for that area. But what we're going to do is actually use the view zip map, and we're going to click there and see it mapped out in front of us to where we could select different zip codes and see what the advertising is like. So this little chart at the bottom is going to show you the zip, the estimated connections available, the estimated additional leads, the average home value, as well as the availability. So this area is already sold out because you see 0% available, and what that means is that all the agents have already bought up all the advertising that was available in that zip code, so now you'll have to buy somewhere else. So where I am, like everywhere in Manhattan, is also sold out. If I click on these zip codes, they're all sold out. So you want to find a zip code that's available, and here is where you begin shopping for the right area that you want to invest in. For this, it's very important that you have a decent understanding of the area and market conditions, because remember, these leads that call in are expecting for you to be the professional and the expert, so you don't exactly want to pick an area that you've never heard of before. So what you're going to do is begin to click on some of the areas that you're familiar with, and you want to make sure that they have at least a decent availability to where they could still connect you with buyers. If an area only has a couple $100 left, it is probably too saturated for you to get any decent leads in return from. How you are going to compare areas is by looking at the average price point, commission, and cost per lead. So if I click here, I see that the average price is $640,000. So if I'm in an area where buyer commissions tend to be 3%, I can assume that it would be an average of $19,200 of commission per sale, and I am getting 21 connections for $1,000 and 12 additional leads. This amounts to a cost per connection of $47.62 and a cost per total lead of $30.30. So what you're going to do is begin to compare this with the other areas as well. So if I click here, I see the average home price is $648,000. There's 12% available. So if I put the same $1,000 a month, I'll be getting 17 leads and an additional almost 9 leads and a cost of lead of $38.76. So I could also click here where the average price is $820,000, and that would mean an average commission of over $24,000. So let's click here and let's see if we put that same $1,000 a month, we would be getting 6 connections and 4 additional leads. So it's definitely a higher potential commission, but the cost per connection here is $166.67, and the cost per total lead is just about $100. So it's definitely a lot more expensive than some of the other areas. So you're going to choose the best one for you and your budget. Now, I also wanted to mention that just because a particular area is more expensive, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a worse deal. First of all, if you understand that area better, then you may have more success at converting those leads because of your knowledge and expertise of that area. If it's an area that you grew up in and you know some inside information, then that would be a huge value to the buyers. Also, some areas may have cheaper leads, but maybe the leads in those areas just tend not to be as good. So you really won't know that until you give it a try, but you definitely want to compare to see what the values are, how many leads you're getting and how many connections you're getting and how much you're paying for that, and relatively what that can get you in other areas as well. In buying leads, I recommend purchasing at least 10 to 20 leads per month, because remember the 80-20 rule, it applies in all things, and it is most likely that 80% of the results from Zillow will come from the top 20% of the leads. Now, this may look a little different for you, but I am almost sure that if you track this over a long period of time, that you will see something to the effect of the 80-20 being true for you as well. So on average, most likely you buy 10 leads, 2 to 3 will be high quality that you can close, 7 to 8 are probably not going to be the best quality of leads. You buy 20 leads, you double that, you'll probably have 4 really high quality prospects to work with. 15, 16, not the best quality. So the numbers will always vary, especially when you start out, but over a long period of time, once again, you'll probably see something to this effect being true for you as well. So now you won't really know how an area will play out until you start receiving those leads. So what I recommend is splitting your budget in half and putting it in 2 different areas that you feel comfortable in. So let's say you were buying 10 leads, then maybe you split that budget in half and get 5 leads from this zip code and 5 leads from another zip code. And this way, over time, you could track this and begin to see which zip code is giving you the better quality of leads, which one is more profitable, and where you should be spending more of your money. And then you could adjust accordingly to that. So we have our area selected, but now I wanted to share with you a couple of secret hacks that you could use to make your money go further when you're buying leads on Zillow. And the first big one is that you could have your entire ad spend subsidized by up to 50% by partnering with a lender through the Premier Lender Partner Program. This means that you could get all your leads for up to 50% off. This is by far going to be the hugest savings available, but it's not as easy as it sounds, and you will need to develop a relationship with a lender in order to subsidize you, let alone cover half of your cost of Zillow. But if you do have a lender that you have consistently sent business to, then this could be a great opportunity to partner with them. Even if you're new and don't have a lender to partner with, I want you to keep this in mind, because now that you have buyer leads, you can leverage that to lenders and arrange that if you send them a deal that they're able to close, in return, they will agree to cover a percentage of your advertising cost for X amount of time. This way, once you establish this, you can begin sending them more and more leads, and the more they close, hopefully they will increase their share of the marketing until it gets up to that 50%. And now all of a sudden you're getting Zillow leads for half the price. The lender also has full access to these leads in their contact info. So it really is a win-win situation for both the agent and the lender, where both parties get leads at a discounted price. With this program, you can also work with up to 3 lenders and have them each subsidize a portion of the advertising. The next option I wanted to bring to your attention is that you could receive a huge advertising bonus of up to 25% of your ad spend if you commit to a 6-month long contract with Zillow. This is a full commitment to Zillow that you will be using their services at a minimum ad spend at least, so you guarantee them that commitment, and in return for that commitment, they reward you with an ad bonus. This is a tiered bonus to where the more you lock into contract, the more bonus they will give you, so you definitely want to talk to a Zillow rep to see what they're offering and if it is worth it. Normally, I would definitely be opposed to something like this and entering into a long-term 6-month contract, but in this case, like I said, if you're going to try Zillow, I would give it at least 6 months anyways. So if you're going to be paying for those 6 months anyway, then it might just be worth it to get that ad bonus while you're at it. I started without a contract because I really liked the month-to-month component of it, but then I ended up staying for 2 years anyway, and I paid my bill every single month, and I didn't get an ad bonus. So looking back, for me, it would have definitely been worth it to enter into a contract because I did stay with them for a long-term period of time, and that 20% of additional leads would have really helped me. While we're on the topic of contracts, I also wanted to mention that if you do have a contract and an ad bonus with Zillow, then they will give you an additional 20% of your ad bonus on top of what you're already getting if you're able to achieve what is known as Best of Zillow status, and this is achievable by achieving high ratings from the consumers that Zillow connects you with. So if you're getting a $200 ad bonus from your contract, if you get Best of Zillow status, they will add 20% of that $200 or $40 to your bonus to equal a total $240 ad bonus. But if you are not comfortable with the contract, then you definitely shouldn't do it. If you feel more comfortable on a month-to-month and want that flexibility that you could back out of this spend at any time, then you should definitely go for that option and really do what's best for you. I just thought I would bring up the contract because they do give you a significant bonus if you were to commit to it anyways. The last thing I wanted to mention when it comes to your advertising budget is that you could optimize your spending even further by putting your ad spend on the right credit card. I get 4 Amex points for every $1 that I spend in Zillow advertising because I use the Amex Business Gold Card to put all my spend on there, and this really adds up to thousands of dollars in value by the end of the year. Now this may sound a bit silly, but these credit cards always have incentives for you to use their cards, and one of the categories that you can get a lot of cash back is online advertising. So with how much this costs on a monthly basis, I definitely think it's worth looking into a credit card that you could optimize your cash back with 2, 3, or even 4% cash back on these purchases. In addition, the high cost could help you quickly qualify for the minimum spend of lucrative sign-up bonuses that could be valued at $700 to $1,000 or more, and that could really help offset some of your cost of getting started. I will leave the link to the Amex Business Gold Card in the description below if you would like to give it a try or just check it out. So now let's get into converting leads, which is where you're actually receiving the leads and working on closing them. I'm going to share the strategy with you that I have had the most success with after 3 years of trial and error and trying a bunch of things out and really refining this down. I'm not saying that this is the 100% best way of doing it, but this is what works best for me. Converting leads is going to be broken down into 4 phases, which are the initial call, developing the relationship, follow-up, and close. So this segment is phase 1 of converting active leads, and that's the initial call that you get. So Zillow has 2 classifications of leads, and these are the live connections, which Zillow will connect to you on a live connection phone call in real time. And they also have the additional connections, which are leads that were on the platform searching, but didn't necessarily ask to speak to an agent, and Zillow will still send you over their contact information for you to call and follow up on your own time. So let's start with the live connection phone calls because these are the best leads that Zillow offers, and this is where you will most likely make most of your money from Zillow. These are live prospects that are calling because they want to set up an appointment to view a home. So now your approach to this initial phone call is going to make a huge difference because this is the first impression that the prospect is getting from you. So this call is very important to nail, and I'm going to give you how I like to handle these calls after months and years of taking them and dealing with Zillow Leads. So what I like to do is put myself into the perspective of the prospect and what they need at this time. Yes, you did just spend hundreds of dollars for this phone call, but this consumer doesn't know and doesn't care, and they're just calling because they want some information or they want a tour of a home. So in order to get a stranger to actually want to work with you, you need to build rapport. And my approach when it comes to this is to always come from a place of providing value. You always want to keep in mind that first impressions are very important and you will only ever get one chance to make one. So I answer the phone very energetically and happy to help them with whatever they may need. My strategy with the very first phone call is to end it quickly and strongly. I'm going to go over how I handle this and then go over my reasoning. So now this is exactly how my phone calls go. Hi, this is Marios, the local real estate agent. How are you doing today? Great, how could I help you today? Then they'll tell me the address of the home that they want to see and when they want to see it. And then I say, thank you so much. I'll look right into that and I'll request that appointment for you for Sunday at 2 p.m. And then I hang up. Now, most agents would start by pre-qualifying them and asking them if they've been pre-approved, but if you noticed, I didn't do any of that. So they could just be any random person with no qualifications, and now I'm already working to get them an appointment for the home that they want to see. So all this may sound counterproductive, but it is going to make sense. And even if I already know that the home that they're calling in has an accepted offer, is under contract, or is sold, I still follow the same exact script. My next step is that immediately after the phone call, I text them with the same exact text script that I use for every lead. Hi lead, thank you so much for your call and time today. It was a pleasure speaking with you. I have requested our appointment for 123 Main Street for Sunday at 2 p.m. and we'll get back to you as soon as I receive confirmation. Then I immediately call the agent who is responsible for this listing and find out what the next availability or the status of that home is. Once I do that and got in touch and get the information, I call the buyer back and let them know the status of the showing or the status of the home. So now why do I always handle it this way? Well, I'm just putting myself into the perspective of what the buyer wants and needs. They just want to see a home. That's it. They don't want to play 20 questions with me, and they definitely don't want to spill out their entire financial positioning to a complete stranger over the phone. And in texting them immediately, they are getting quick service and a timely call back with the information on a home that they wanted to see. This is what the consumer really wants, and I am simply delivering it. But now by the time of the second call, I have already provided value to them. I have provided excellent customer service by getting back to them so quickly. And many times the lead will even say, oh wow, I wasn't expecting you to get back to me so soon. So now that I have already provided value and have demonstrated my hard work ethic, it gives me a little more leverage to get what I want, which is information about them, and it makes them more open to provide me with it. So whatever the information is on the home that I received, whether it's that we have a confirmed showing or the home is in contract or not available anymore, I have the perfect segue for this conversation and I use it every time. So the call will go something like this. Hey Susan, I was just calling you back because I found out that information on 123 Main Street. It actually is unfortunately unavailable at this time. And then they'll say some kind of reply to that. And then I go with, but now since I have you on the phone anyway, are you able to share with me a little more about what you are looking for so that I can send you additional homes that meet your criteria? So again, I'm coming from value. This is when they begin to open up and I begin taking my notes. I always start with asking what they are looking for because I don't want to be overbearing. It's an easy question for them to answer. Most buyers like to talk about what they are looking for, and it's also coming from a place of value that once again, I want to service them and send them additional homes that meet their criteria. So now that I start collecting information, my main goal in collecting the information is to answer these questions. Who, what, when, why, where, and how. I want to know what they are looking for, where they are looking to buy, who they are buying and living with, how they are buying that home, when they would ideally like or need to be closed by, and most importantly, why they are looking to buy. The why is the most important part of this equation because it tells you how motivated this buyer really is and if they want to buy or if they need to buy. I try to get as much information as possible on this second phone call, but also without overdoing it and picking up on the context clues if the client feels like I'm being too overbearing or asking too many questions. So you want to ask your questions naturally, like they just flow with the conversation. So I don't have scripted questions or try to go in any kind of order. I just have in mind the information that I'm looking for and how to segue the questions into our natural conversation that we're having. Most of the time, I won't get all the information that I need on the very first call, but I'll usually get a good basis to start with, and then I'll continue to ask them questions throughout the process to get the remaining answers that I need. So now that you have this information, at least you have a basis to start to work with. So now in meeting the clients for the first time, I always try to meet them in my office rather than at a home showing. So I try to close this phone call by getting an appointment with them to come into my office, and the goal of this consultation consultation is for me to go over my services, get more information on what is important to them, build some rapport. It gives me the opportunity to demonstrate my professionalism and why they may benefit from hiring a buyer's agent. And the ultimate goal is to have them sign an exclusive buyer's agency agreement. Now, in my market, exclusive buyer agency isn't as common as some other places, so many times it is hard to close this, but I always try to do it anyways and try to get them to meet in my office and go over the paperwork. I currently still service buyers with or without an exclusive buyer agency agreement, but once again, how you choose to run your business is up to you. So now let's go over the first meeting with the client, which begins phase 2 of the conversion, which is developing the relationship. So this phase begins with your first physical meeting with the buyer, which is either at the home that they inquired on, at a home that you sent to them, or preferably at your buyer consultation. Now over here, remember that this is your first physical first impression. You want to make sure that you're dressed professionally, prepared, and make a warm and endearing impression. You want to make sure that you're prepared with the information on the property or information that they need, and you also want to provide them with a little something extra that takes your customer experience a little beyond just the average experience that they would experience with any real estate agent that they choose. For example, maybe providing them with a nice custom folder with the MLS sheet and additional documents that you personally found from your county's database so that they have additional information on the home that regular buyers don't have just from the MLS sheet. You want to provide them with something of value that is just a little more than the average realtor would, which is nothing or just an MLS sheet that they printed out. Some agents even greet their clients with a small gift like a gift card or something of a small monetary value. This helps you stand out from the crowd and begin to form a quality relationship. At the end of the day, a small $10 Starbucks gift card isn't going to break the bank for you, especially if it helps you potentially close a 5-digit commission check. So this first meeting is also a great way for you to demonstrate your professionalism and also the value that you provide. My rule is that I will always show them at least one home with or without a pre-approval letter, but once again, how you choose to run your business and if you require this letter is going to be up to you. I also use the anti-sell as a method to build rapport with them by pointing out some of the negatives of the property and some reasons why it wouldn't work for them based on the information that they gave me. Now, once again, this may sound counterproductive because I'm a real estate salesperson and now I'm trying specifically not to sell them this home. But what this does is show them that I'm not just an agent who's out there for the commission. I actually care about them and what's best for them and their family in finding the perfect home. At the end of the day, they were probably not going to buy that first home anyways, and ultimately they will make their decision on what to buy based on how they feel about that home, regardless of what you as the agent said. But this simple tactic shows the buyer that I'm on their side, it draws them closer to me and begins to build that relationship of trust, and that's what this is all about anyways. You continue to develop this relationship throughout the process by showing your buyers in subtle and obvious ways that you are there for them and you are listening to what is important to them. Now, another very important thing that's going to help you convert Zillow leads is that you want to do your absolute best to get your clients and buyers to confirm you as their agent on Zillow. See, Zillow will actually resell your leads after 30 days of connecting you, even though you paid for them. So the next time after 30 days that lead inquires on a home, that inquiry will get routed to another agent that also pays for Zillow. The only way around this is to go to that lead's contact on Zillow and send them a confirmation email to which they will have to confirm they are actively working with you. If confirmed, Zillow will honor your connection status for an entire year and only route their calls to you. Please remember to keep this in mind because you pay way too much for these Zillow leads just to have them sent over to another agent. Now this brings me to phase 3 of converting, and this is follow-up. This is the most important piece of the puzzle when it comes to converting your active prospects because this is what bridges the gap between them liking you after you've made a great first impression and developed that trust to where you could actually close the deal and get paid as an agent. Because at the end of the day, we cannot deposit our clients' feelings of us into the bank, and at the end of the day, as real estate agents, we only get paid when we close a home, and the only way to get there is through follow-up. With your highest quality leads who are ready to buy today, I believe that you should be in constant communication with them daily so that it shows them that they have someone who is working nonstop to find them the perfect home, and it also helps to bind the relationship closer together if you are in continual communication with them. So the first step of the follow-up is to send them all of the active listings that are currently on the market that match based on the criteria that they shared with you, which you may have already done before your first appointment. Next, you want to remember to work smarter and not harder. So you want to set them up on an automatic safe search that will automatically send them any new listings that hit the market that meet their criteria. This way, they are constantly alerted of all the new homes that are coming up as soon as they hit the market, and to them, it looks like you're working hard to make sure that they're getting all these properties right away, but in reality, they're just being sent to them automatically. I use IDX Broker for this function, so I'll link to that in the description if you want to check it out. But the reason I like this is because it links to my personal real estate website and it sends them all of the listings from my MLS. It also allows me to save an unlimited amount of prospects, which my MLS does not allow me to do. And it also has other functions as well for your website. So if you want to check that out for yourself, if you need a solution, then you can check it out in the link in the description. But also, most likely, you could do this directly from your MLS that you already pay for. But you as the agent should also keep yourself informed of all the new listings and inventory that are coming up on the market. So if they miss something and you see it, it gives you the opportunity to call them and let them know, hey, I just saw this new listing that meets your criteria. You should check it out, and maybe we set an appointment to see it. As a buyer's agent, a lot of this is about speed to the newest listings and helping your clients see it first in order to help them win that home and win that offer. So you want to make sure that you stay aggressive with finding the newest listings and then immediately trying to set up an appointment to show those homes to your buyers. This not only helps you ultimately close the deal, but it also provides an extreme value to your buyers and helps to develop that relationship even further. So now you just keep continually doing this over and over and over again until they find the right home for them and their offer is accepted. So now this is where the grit, hustle, and intensity comes into play. You will need to have the discipline to aggressively follow up with your clients and dedicate that hard work and effort even when you're seeing no result. And this is what brings me to phase 4 of the conversion process, which is closing. I like to go for the natural close where it doesn't feel forced, but as a real estate agent, it is also your responsibility to inform your clients based on the information that you have available to make the best decisions for them. If they really love a home and need to have it, but it's also highly competitive, then offering under the list price just isn't going to do it, and you need to advise them on that. This isn't about getting them to overpay or just wanting to close a commission, but rather about keeping their best interest in mind. If they really love, want, and need that home, then you need to advise them on the high probability that they will not get their offer accepted going in under the asking price. As long as they are fully okay with that decision and possibility, then you could proceed as an agent. As an agent, you also want to learn, number 1, how to make an offer more competitive without raising the price, and number 2, what is your buyer's actual train of thought behind the offer that they're making? To make your offer more competitive, are there any conditions in your contract that you could waive that won't do much harm to your buyers? Also, is there any information that you could find out about the seller and what they want so that you could structure your offer to make it stand out and be more appealing to them? And next is understanding the train of thought of your buyers. Sometimes in negotiations, it just doesn't make sense to us as an agent as to why our buyers won't come up a small amount of just a few $1,000s to end up closing the home that they really love. That's because as a third party, we may not know exactly what is going on. So many times the buyer isn't just doing this to be spiteful, but there actually is a reasoning behind it that makes sense, and I have a few examples of this myself. So recently, I was in a negotiation where the gap was $10,000 to get it to close, and the buyer wouldn't budge even though they loved the home, it was a good property, it was a good deal, and it would barely increase their monthly payment on the mortgage. I couldn't understand why they would pass on this deal over $10,000, but when I asked them exactly what was stopping them from offering more, I learned that it was about how much money they would have left over after the closing cost and down payment. The buyer was concerned because he also wanted to have a reserve fund after the closing to be comfortable in paying those mortgages for a few months just in case of any emergency were to come up. So I was able to inform my buyers about a seller's concession to where we could actually raise our offer price beyond the acceptable offer and get a good credit from the seller to cover a large portion of the closing cost, and this would end up leaving the buyer with even more money than they had originally anticipated. And just like that, we closed the deal. So to that particular buyer, it didn't have much to do with the monthly mortgage payment, but rather the cash on hand, and through my knowledge and expertise, I was able to come up with a viable solution that led to us closing the deal. So being a closer is extremely important. Knowing what options and programs are available, how to sweeten the deal, and the solutions to problems are all going to help you getting over the hurdles to close deals. And being a better closer will make any leads that you get more worth it, because sometimes it's not about the lead source, but it's about your skills as a real estate agent and as a closer. You need to know exactly what to do in tight situations to make a deal if there is one to be had. Now, sometimes there's definitely not going to be a solution available, and that's okay too, because you can't win them all, but at least you know that there's nothing that you could have done to save those deals from falling apart. Now, developing your skills as a closer will take time to master through knowledge and through experience, but as a salesperson, you'll definitely want to work on developing your best ability to close. So now you know how to convert and close your active prospects, which is the most important skill that you need to convert Zillow leads or with any lead platform that you use. The next component that I wanted to go over is missed opportunities, and this is where many agents, myself included, really miss out on the big money. I know that myself, I have personally lost tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars due to missed opportunities that I failed to capitalize on. So when we are getting Zillow leads that are active buyers, we quickly get too caught up in the busy day-to-day operations of servicing them. And we also have everything that we're doing outside of Zillow in our business as well that's eating up at our time. But inevitably, many of the leads that we do get will not be ready to transact for either months or years from the time that they initially call in. Now, in being so busy and servicing our active buyers, it becomes virtually impossible to remember every single lead that came in the past, and even those buyers that we started working with but we lost touch. This is where it's extremely important to catch those missed opportunities in Zillow. You need to have some form of system to stay in touch and stay in contact with these leads for when they are ready to buy, even if it's in a really long time from now. Inevitably, that day will come, even if it's months or years down the road, and if you don't stay in touch, they will simply do the deal with the next agent who happens to be in the right place at the right time. The best way that I have found to do this is to export all your leads into a CRM where you can be reminded to call them at the appropriate times to follow up. This way you are doing your best to prevent opportunities from falling through the cracks. Now, exporting these leads and importing them into a CRM is very simple to do. All you need to do is go to the Contact tab in Zillow and export all your leads into a CSV where you can import them into your third-party CRM. Zillow will also have some automatic integrations with some of the top CRM providers, so definitely check into that in the Settings tab. From there, you will automatically be reminded to follow up with your prospects at the right time. So every month or even every few months, depending on their time frame, you will give them a text or call just to touch base with them and see how they're doing and keep them engaged. And in doing this and continuing to do this over a long period of time, hopefully when that day comes that they are ready to transact, you will at least have the opportunity to help them in the transaction and get paid a commission. Otherwise, if you never follow up or check back in with them, or better yet, ask them to call you when they're ready, then they will forget about you, you will forget about them, and you could forget about that commission as well. The last component that I wanted to touch on is leverage. And what I mean by leverage is how you can leverage your success from Zillow to lead to more and more business for you, and there are multiple ways that you could do this. There are 3 things that you can leverage from every sale that you make on Zillow, and this is the client, the sale, and the commission. Let's start with how to leverage the client. Thanks to your work and dedication, these leads went from completely cold strangers to now warm past clients who have a working relationship with you. Out of every client that you close, you want to capture from them the 3 R's. And these 3 R's are a review, referrals, and repeat business. As soon as you close your clients, you should be asking them to leave you a 5-star review on Zillow and other platforms as well. Consumers read reviews, and getting more 5-star reviews will help you climb the search rankings and will also help you build your reputation as an agent. Now, you want to view the closing of any sale as not the end of the relationship, but only the very beginning. So after a closing, you now have a reason to build a long-term relationship with these clients because you were the real estate agent that sold them the home that they love. You want to provide value to them by keeping them informed of any new changes that may impact them as homeowners, and also by calling in to check in on them every now and again just to see how they're doing. This will lead to future referrals of their friends and family as well, who may also need to buy or sell a home now or in the future. And also, if you stay in touch long enough to where years go by and now they want to sell that home and buy another one, or maybe just buy a second property or an investment property, then you could do repeat business with them as well. Now let's talk about leveraging the sale. In real estate sales, success begets success. So what this means is that the more successful that you are, the more successful you will continue to be. So with every sale that you make as a success, you could actually leverage that sale to begin doing more sales just like that one. Remember that you just sold a home in the area, whether you were the listing agent or the buying agent, and maybe you even did it for an amazing price. There is value in that sale, and the fact that you made it, and you could begin to leverage and market this sale as much as possible to potentially get even more sales as a result. You could do this through several avenues like door knocking, cold calling, mailing, social media, and so on. In marketing that sale that you made, others can take notice and hire you to help them buy or even sell their home as well. This also gives them the confidence that if you sold that home in the neighborhood, then there's a good likelihood that you could sell their home as well. Now they feel like someone has already trusted you with a sale that you were successful with, so they're not just blindly taking a chance on you. You have already somewhat proven yourself by making that original sale in their area. The next thing that you could leverage is your commission. I'm a huge believer in investing back into myself and into my business. So let's say that you just made your first big commission off of Zillow, and now you're excited and maybe you want to go and spend that money on something or go out and treat yourself. And I understand how this would be your first instinct because you just worked really hard to close that sale, but actually a better use of that money would be to leverage it, to reinvest it back into your business so that you can get an additional return on your investment as well. Let's say that you make a $10,000 commission after splits and your cost of Zillow was $2,000. This leaves you with an $8,000 profit from that sale. So now you probably have some personal bills and expenses, and let's say that those equal $5,000 that you need to set aside for that, but that will still leave you with $3,000 left over. Now with that money, you could take it and use it to invest back into growing your business. You could use that money to buy postcards to mail, you could look at other services and tools for your business, or you could just reinvest it back into Zillow because it already proved itself to work once. Leveraging your commissions always has a huge payoff because not only are you adding gasoline to the fire, but you also receive a full write-off for anything that you invest back into your business, and therefore you're lowering your tax liability. Zillow Leads still work, and you could definitely have success using this platform. It does cost a pretty penny, and it definitely isn't the cheapest source of business, but in my opinion, it is one of the easiest ways to begin working with clients, even if you have little experience and time in the business. You simply need to pay to play, and all you really need is a real estate license and a credit card in order to get started, making this for a very low barrier of entry. But that isn't to say that Zillow Leads are any easy to close, and if you don't take my word for it, just ask any other agent that has paid for Zillow. Just like any lead you get, they take time, hard work, discipline, and patience in order to close, and if you're able to dedicate that effort, then you could be successful in Zillow just like anything else in life. So this video took me a really long time to create in just putting everything that I know about the program and organizing it in a way that is easily digestible for you. I also put everything I know from my over 3 years of being on the platform and everything I've learned from trial and error into this video to condense it down for you and really help you out with all my secrets and all my little hacks that I've learned along the way. So if you appreciate this video at all and if you found any value in it, all I ask is that you subscribe to my channel because that's going to help me continue to make videos just like this. And as always, guys, I appreciate if you're watching to this point, and I'll see you in my next video.